my name is Kate and welcome back to our sensory series. This is all about the basics of sensory behaviours and strategies that you can use at home or in the classroom to really support children who are under-responsive to vestibular input. So vestibular is all about movement and it's our senses in our ear. Now, before I go further, we've just got to think about any kind of negative responses that you got to watch for and observe and be aware of these possibilities. And if you see any of these signs, then you stop the vestibular activity that you are doing. So it could be any kind of excessive yawning, hiccuping or sighing. It could be irregular breathing. It could be a colour change in the face. It could be sweating, it could be motor agitation, it could be increased anxiety, pupil dilation, a change in the sleep-wake patterns of children, and just significant changes in arousal. So falling asleep, extreme giddiness, anything that changes from their optimal state of arousal. And it's really important to observe this because quite often children are sensory seekers, and the children who are sensory seekers get a lot of input. And sometimes it's not always a positive effect dependent on their level of threshold. So please watch for those signs if you see any of those whilst you're doing the activity. So for our sensory seekers, what kind of behaviours will we see on a day-to-day basis in the home or classroom, which will mean that they are seeking additional input? So it will be children who can't sit still, whether it's at the dinner table or in the classroom. They are just constantly on the move. Children who are impulsive, who are swinging, who demonstrate poor attention, who are often tumbling and falling and drop onto furniture, or they're always wanting to climb. All of these kind of behaviours, who are just constantly on the go, pacing backwards and forwards, it's just constant. And so they may seek vestibular input, but it is also important for you to be aware that children may seek this input because they are trying to screen out some uncomfortable sensation that they have within the environment. So children aren't always sensory seekers from a vestibular perspective. It may be that there is some noise in the environment that they find uncomfortable and they are trying to screen it out. But basically what is happening is they're not registering any kind of movement like a system that is modulating their sensory needs together effectively. And so they need additional input to be able to pay attention and concentration. But all those kind of behaviours, impulsivity, constantly on the go, constantly moving, quite often common in children with ASD and ADHD, that it's the vestibular system that really requires some intervention and some support. So what activities can we do in the classroom or at home to support these children? So you can use things if they've got to sit down for a period of time, that like a move and sit cushion, or a ball and chair. You could get a big therapy ball and sit on a chair. And that just allows them to move, even a bit of a swivel chair like I'm on now. It just provides any kind of movement that they may need. Any kind of physical activity, so giving them a role, allowing them to be, the monitor of the register, or, any kind of books that you've got to give out or tools that you've got to give out, and just give some roles to them so that it provides that regular input throughout the day to be able to modulate their needs without requiring to seek it. So doing messages, going to a different classroom, collecting paper, all that kind of stuff, that just gets them up out their seat and gets them moving. Star jumps, any physical activity in PE, anything that's active. So any kind of star jumps, any trampolining, any animal walks, all those kind of activities that really just activate and move the head in relation to the nervous system. And then if they're sitting down, you can also do things like weighted push-ups, seated push-ups with your weights through your arms. That just provides that little bit of movement. You could just get them to stand up and just have a wiggle and a shake and a move around. You know, and you can do it within kind of all the children. It doesn't have to be just that one child, but just gives that input that the children need. Any kind of skipping activities, any running activities, any hiking activities, all these kind of activities that are just really activating to provide input. If you've got scooter boards are great. But as well, you've got to be aware that kind of not all vestibular input for children are alert and positive. And it is, you've got to be so careful. This is the sensory system that you really must be aware of in relation to those negative responses. And because it's not always a positive response. And if you miss their threshold or don't read their signals significantly, then it can really have a negative impact. So it is really important, and sensory diets and sensory schedules are really important if you do have a child that demonstrates any of these kind of behaviours. So if you need some movement, but regulatory movement, anything that kind of has the head upside down, so hanging off furniture, lying over a therapy ball, any kind of that position, you know, monkey bars, hang upside down, on the couch, anything that, you know, climbing frames, anything that you can do to hang upside down can be effective. But also any kind of slow, rocking, rhythmic movement. And this is great if you've got a music lover and you can find some slow, calming, rhythmic songs that they really motivate them, get them lying over a therapy ball, head down, and they've just got to touch the floor with their feet and then touch the floor with their hands and with their feet and with their hands and go with the rhythm. And then they provided the vestibular input, but it's also very calming and very regulating. So any slow, linear, rocking movement, if you've got a swing, if you know, slow swinging, all those kind of movements are really calming and really regulating for the nervous system. So please be aware of understanding that actually providing lots and lots and lots of vestibular input for a child who is sensory seeking may not always have a positive outcome, and be aware of all those signs that I mentioned first off, but please integrate those strategies, any activities that provide all that movement into the day-to-day activities so that the child doesn't seek it. And we do have a free download on our website of sensory zone schedules where we'll explain kind of how to structure your schedule throughout the day to really help regulate. But please be careful, and if you are interested in wanting more bespoke information on your child's nervous system, their sensory thresholds and activities that will really support them in relation to modulating all of their sensory needs and not just that one significant sensory need, then please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. We do sensory assessments across the UK, and we also have our Fab Family membership, which provides lots of therapeutic programs which you are able to join and watch at your leisure and do at your leisure, and also work on more integrated therapeutic activities. So please go to the website at www to check those out. And I hope you have found this video useful. Please give us a like if you like it, and I will see you all soon. See you later.